The formula wasn't made for skincare. It was made for burn wards. And somehow, that changed what beauty meant. Before Dove was a beauty brand, it was a medical solution. Before it was in your bathroom, it was in field hospitals. And the people who made it weren't chasing a market. They were solving a problem. What happened next, the quiet pivot, the odd decision, the campaign no one expected to land, is one of the stranger origin stories in consumer history. To understand Dove, you have to understand what soap was in the 1940s. It was harsh, alkaline. It cleaned you the same way it cleaned your laundry, by stripping everything off the surface. Oils, dirt, and a fair amount of your skin along with it. Women with dry skin used it anyway because there wasn't much else. The beauty industry hadn't caught up. Moisturizer was a separate step, an afterthought, something you applied to fix what soap had just done. The big soap companies knew this. Lever Brothers, one of the largest consumer goods companies in the world, knew it too. Their researchers had been studying skin chemistry for years. They understood the damage. They just hadn't figured out what to do about it yet. Soap, chemically speaking, is made from fats and an alkali. It works by bonding to both water and oil at the same time, lifting grease off surfaces. The problem is, it doesn't stop there. It keeps lifting. It pulls the natural oils your skin produces to protect itself. Every wash was a small act of damage. The women buying it in 1950 didn't have a word for this. They just knew their skin felt tight after a shower. They knew winter made it worse. They used the soap anyway because everyone used the soap. There was no alternative that felt credible, that came in a bar, that fit inside the ritual they already had. That gap between what skin needed and what the market offered was sitting there, quietly, waiting for someone to notice it wasn't actually a beauty problem. It was a chemistry problem. And the answer was already being developed. Just not for them. During the Second World War, the U.S. military had a burn problem. Field hospitals were treating soldiers with severe skin injuries, burns, wounds, damage that made standard soap completely unusable. Traditional soap on compromised skin caused pain and slowed healing. Medics needed something that could clean without the alkaline stripping effect, something closer to the skin's own chemistry. Lever Brothers' research team was among those working on a solution. What they developed was a synthetic detergent bar, a Syndet bar, built on a completely different chemical foundation than soap. It didn't rely on alkali. It cleaned gently, without disrupting the skin's barrier. It was mild enough to use on wounds. The war ended. The military need faded. But the formula didn't disappear. Someone at Lever Brothers looked at what they had, this unusually gentle, clinically tested bar, and saw something the beauty industry hadn't offered yet. A bar that cleaned your skin without punishing it. A product that was, by design, fundamentally different from everything else on the shelf. They added moisturizing cream to the formula, 1/4 of the bar, by composition. Then they made a decision that, at the time, seemed almost counterintuitive. They didn't position it as a luxury product. They didn't make it expensive or aspirational. They kept it plain, a white bar, a clean name, a simple claim. Dove launched in the United States in 1957. The marketing was quiet. The packaging was minimal. The advertising said, almost plainly, "This is not soap. It won't dry your skin." And unlike every other beauty claim on the market, they could prove it. They had clinical studies, dermatologist endorsements, numbers. It didn't explode. It didn't immediately reshape the industry. It grew slowly, steadily, in the hands of women who tried it once and kept buying it. No drama, no celebrity campaign. Just a product that did what it said. For decades, that was enough. By the early 2000s, Dove was a trusted brand. Reliable. Quiet. Not exciting, but present in more bathrooms than almost any other product in its category. Then, in 2004, they did something the beauty industry genuinely wasn't ready for. They ran a campaign called Real Beauty. It featured women who weren't models, different sizes, different ages, different skin. No retouching. The ads asked simple questions. Is this woman beautiful? And left the answer open. It was uncomfortable in a way that felt intentional. The beauty industry had spent 50 years telling women what they should look like. Dove asked whether any of that was real. Let's soy sauce this for a second. The formula hadn't changed since 1957. The bar was the same. What changed was the mirror they held up, and what they asked women to see in it. The product had always been built on a quiet rejection of harshness. The campaign finally said that out loud. It became one of the most discussed advertising moments of its decade. Not because it was slick, because it was honest in a space where honesty was rare. Dove is now a $5 billion brand. Still the same white bar. Still the same gentle formula. Still, in some ways, the same quiet object that came out of a medical problem nobody in the beauty industry had thought to solve. Most brands chase the moment. They hire the face, buy the feeling, sell the version of you that doesn't exist yet. Dove never did that. The formula was right in 1957. The values were already there. In the gentleness, in the clinical studies, in the decision to make a plain white bar and let it speak for itself. They didn't need to reinvent the product in 2004. They just finally said out loud what the bar had been saying for 50 years. You don't need to be fixed. You never did. That's a rare thing. A company whose product and its message were actually the same thing all along. Most brands spend decades trying to close that gap. Dove started there. Not soap. Something better. And eventually, a campaign that said the same thing about the people holding it. What other brands do you think got it right from the very beginning? Tell us in the comments.